Hello, everybody. Preston Poulter here with Pocket Jacks Comics, and today we're talking about Krakenprint. So, this is largely going to be a story coming out of my own personal experience. This is one that's going to be relevant to indie comic creators, probably not of general interest to most of the rest of you. But since I am an indie comic creator, and since I got a lot of friends, this is kind of a video for them. I've used Krakenprint in the past. What they do here is that they work with overseas printers, typically in China or Taiwan, and they will, get your print order delivered. They'll deal with the overseas printer and all that jazz. Um, Typically, the wait times were exceedingly long, um, over 100 days, and that unfortunately got even worse here lately with the print order I placed for a reprint of White Lily, because I've been selling a lot of issue 1, as well as just a general print for Guinevere and the Divinity Factory to, just have for stock. Now, because I knew they were going to be so long, I placed an order for 500 copies with Greco Printing out of Michigan, and that allowed me to turn around my Kickstarter and my Indiegogo just, like that, really fast. But when it comes to, the $3,500 order I placed for 4,000 comic books, that one was getting lost. And then another indie comic creator, Corey Giles, I believe his name is, who wrote Lair, was expressing some consternation on Twitter. So I decided to start looking into it. And yeah, as far as I can tell, well, no. I started posting to, there was a Facebook forum, Kickstart with Krakenprint. So I started posting to that forum and going, hey, are you guys still like in touch with them? Because I wasn't able to get in touch with them. And I'm like, are they just avoiding me personally because they know I've got outstanding comic books? Or are they just not taking orders? And other people started to reply to that thread and said, yeah, I can't even get a hold of them to get a quote. And then somebody else posted that essentially they had started laying people off, and as far as they could tell, the company had gone out of business, which was a bit upsetting. So here's where I had to use my own special superpower, litigation. I had left a number of messages over the course of weeks, sent a number of emails, Facebook messages, posts. I was able to get a response from them within hours when I sat down and typed out a lawsuit, which really it doesn't take long for me to type out a lawsuit. I can do it in 10 minutes. Here it is. So the lawsuit alleges two causes of action, as we would say. The first and easiest is breach of contract. The second one is misrepresentation. By that I mean I don't, or at least I'm alleging in the complaint that I don't believe they actually play Smarter for comic books and instead were just taking my money as they were going out of business. In response to, so I sent this in an email to everybody who had contact information there for Krakenprint, and then by the end of the day, I heard back from everyone. Like all of a sudden, they just all came out to me and said, "Oh, wait, don't sue us. We have your comic books." And then they shipped it the next day, and I just contacted the trucking company. It's going to be delivered here tomorrow. So happy ending. Jacob Way, the CEO of Krakenprint, has said that he's going through some financial difficulties. As best I can tell in reading between the lines and interpreting the actions in terms of those words, um, essentially he was in some financial trouble and he couldn't afford to pay his customer service people. That's why he wasn't taking calls anymore. And product was accumulating in warehouses, but he's like, apparently like their accounting system was also gone because that was something somebody else was doing, and he didn't trust creators enough that if he paid money to ship, and of course money's pretty precious to him at this point, that he wouldn't get reimbursed. So he just figured, well, I guess at some point in the future I'll take care of it. The threat of litigation kind of forced him to reevaluate those priorities. He has since deleted the Kickstart with Krakenprint group, which probably makes sense if he's not soliciting new orders. I don't know if the company is going to be a going concern in the future. at this point, I'm pretty skeptical. But I have been working with creators. If you have outstanding comic book orders with Krakenprint, Jacob Way says this is the person you need to contact, Josh. Now, I know, because I've spoken with Josh, Josh is doing this for free. He's not been paid since December, but he wants, just kind of as an act of good faith to get people the product that they've ordered. But don't send Josh an email and get all up in his face, okay? He's doing this for free. He's doing this to get you your product. Meanwhile, going forward, I discourage anyone from using this company until I'm hearing success stories, which unfortunately I don't anticipate. There are simply better companies and better options out there. The one off the top of my head would be Print Ninja. There's also AM Print Services. Both of those, by the way, are just domestic partners for you that will then find an overseas printer. And if you want to print domestically, Krakenprint is really good. They can put a comic book in your hand in 10 days. And in terms of speed and quality, I've been very happy with what they've been able to do for me. They are dramatically more expensive than going overseas, however, which is the conundrum that we have to worry about here in the indie comics business. But I did think that was important. By the way, for those of you out there who want to draft your own lawsuit, here's what you do. You will need a pleading template. You see all those numbers there on the side? That's just a pleading template. You can Google it, and then what word processor are you using? Are you using Microsoft Word? Just Google pleading template, Microsoft Word, whatever, and then you'll get it. And then the next thing you need to Google is okay, you need to decide where you want to sue them, which in this case would be Cook County because that's where they're out of. You need to go to the Secretary of State for Secretary of State for Illinois, and type in Krakenprint. You can find their registered agent, which means somebody who is there at a mailing address who must accept civil service, which in this particular case is Jacob Way. So he's serving as his own registered agent. And then, you then Google lawsuit, Cook County, breach of contract, and then you'll see kind of examples, and then you just basically cut and paste and fill out the form, and you've got a lawsuit and a threat. And then tomorrow, comic books. Honestly, not that hard. What can I say? I'm litigious, and the only reason I am is because it simply is effective in situations like this. Other than that, White Lily issue 3 is up on Indiegogo for those of you who missed the Kickstarter. There's a link for that down in the description. Thank you very much for your time. Take care.